Hey there! For March in my mom's journal, I made a collaboration with the artist that I admire the most, my sister. I told her to draw something inspired by Mexico, and so she drew the cover and I did the rest. This is a video that was long due, but I really wanted to do this voiceover and could not because of my allergies. I practically didn't have a clear voice, but I am all good now, so it's finally here. As a Mexican, since I was a little girl, I grew up eating corn in all its presentations. From tortillas and tamales to corn on a stick and esquites, which you might know as corn in a glass, they are all part of my memories, my favorites, and beyond that, corn is a timeless and classic feature, the ultimate hero of both ancestral and modern Mexican cuisine. So important is corn that Mayans believed that the gods had used this ancestral food to create man. As always, I found a super nice and interesting article about the impact of corn in Mexico. I will leave the link below in case you want to read it in full, but in part it says, if we consider as cultural heritage what gives strength and identity to a people, corn is without a doubt a fundamental part of the heritage of Mexicans. It is not just a food that accompanies us through life, but a cultural creation that makes man and plant inseparable. As Mexicans, we need it to feed ourselves and live. Corn, due to its high productivity, allowed time to create the archaeological cities that we admire today. Those who built El Tajín, Tula, Cobá, or Palenque fed on corn, along with other plants and animals present in the cornfields. The large Olmec heads, the Mixtec codex, the feather works, or the pieces of goldsmithing are the product of men who fed on corn. So how were they not to revere this pretentious plant? How were they not to dedicate dances, music, poems, and offerings to it? The explanation of its origin gave rise to fundamental myths in the different ancient cultures. Its representation appears in the painting and in the bas-reliefs. The heritage generated by corn thus extends to art since ancient times. And this way of being present and expressing oneself has continued for thousands of years. If we approach the indigenous populations today, we will find that same reverence that comes to life in music and dance, and that unites the communities through the different ceremonies present throughout the cycle associated with corn. For centuries, and despite confrontations of great violence, such as the Spanish invasion, which extended for 3 centuries, the culture of corn remained as an expression of vital resistance. Thousands of people continued the old practices and sought to coexist with evangelization, incorporating the manifestations of the new religion into the teachings and practices of their ancestors. They were also strongly preserved during the 19th century, despite the misunderstanding and attempts of the intellectuals and politicians who considered the indigenous people, their culture, and their food as a burden that had to be left behind to fully enter into progress. The revolution brought a respite, new earth's openness, aiming to build something of its own. From higher positions, new spaces were opened to the indigenous world. This is how we find corn again in public spaces, through, for example, Diego Rivera's murals, in which the cultivation or the parties around corn are shown. Corn is a heritage of undeniable importance. We would say vital not only for Mexico, but for other countries in Central and South America. Its space, the cornfield, is a cultural landscape par excellence that also deserves to be preserved. The article goes on to talk about topics such as the problem of global warming and how technology has been applied massively to crops, and that is increasingly putting not only corn but all food sources at risk. I only wanted to share the part that explains how it has been and will continue to be part of my culture, and therefore almost a national symbol of a country in which we all enjoy it every day since we were born. This quote says, "We are corn grains from the same cob. We are one root from the same path." I believe this applies not only to those who are particularly nurtured by corn, but to mankind in general. No matter where we were born, we are all humans with the same needs, but different cultures. And corn, of course, is enjoyed by the whole world over. It unites us through food, and so it's definitely among mankind's basic food basket. For now, I'm gonna leave you to the music so that you can enjoy the rest of this setup. And that curious scarecrow takes us to the final flip through of a theme where the inspiration was set by my sister. I loved her use of color and the topic that she chose. You can follow her on Instagram if you enjoy seeing colorful and happy art pieces. As for the rest of the setup, despite being visually simple, I loved sharing all the information on corn with you. So let me know in the comments which food is the one that most represents your country, or the one that you just love the most. Thank you so much for all your support and lovely comments. I really appreciate you all. And so as usual, thank you so much for watching.